चल रहा है सही, बकचोदी शुरू हो चुकी है। अभी मैं स्टार्ट करने वाला हूँ जो मेरे को स्टार्ट करना है। लेट्स रीड दिस बुक बिकॉज आई वॉज गोइंग थ्रू दिस बुक एंड आई लिटरली like the introduction and the first few pages of the book, so I thought instead of reading it alone I should start doing it with my audience. This book is, as you can see the title, it is about the courage to be disliked, and it's a Japanese phenomenon that shows you how to change your life and achieve real happiness. It is written by Mr. Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Spare my pronunciation, it might not be right. And let's head forward to the introduction directly. So what I'll be doing is I'll be reading the book, plus I'll be giving my point of view, plus what's the philosopher's point of view here. So if you're somebody who wants to know the deep meaning about life, who wants to really understand what life is, maybe this might be the book for you. It will help you think from a broader perspective about life. Okay, so let's go and read the introduction. So here's a youth who is asking this. I want to ask you once again, you do believe that the world is in all ways a simple place? The philosopher says, yes, this world is astonishingly simple and life itself is too. Interesting thought, right? So is this your idealistic argument or is it a workable theory? What I mean is, are you saying that any issues you or I face in life are simple too? Yes, of course, is what he's saying. I mean, for me, any issues that we face in life are super simple. It's just how we look at it. So alright then, but let me explain why I have come to visit you today. Firstly, I want to debate this with you until I'm satisfied, and then if possible, I want to get you to retract this theory. So the youth is pretty adamant here. He's like, either I'm gonna debate with you, either you are gonna lose, and if you're gonna lose, you need to retract the theory. If you're gonna win, then it's okay. I'll be satisfied with you. The philosopher will be like, haha, just like me thinking in the head, okay, let's go for it. So the youth is saying, because I have heard all about a reputation. The word is that there is an eccentric philosopher living here whose teachings and arguments are hard to ignore, namely that people can change. Good thought. That the world is simple and that everyone can be happy. That is the sort of thing I have heard, but I find that view totally unacceptable, so I wanted to confirm things for myself. If I find anything you say completely off, I'll point it out and then correct you, but will you find that annoying? So he be like, he's saying here, the word is that there is an eccentric philosopher living, and he's just talking. I mean, he maybe heard about the philosopher somehow, from somewhere, and he is impressed by his teachings and arguments, and that's why he came to him, and now he wants to talk to him about all these things. So the philosopher, no, I would welcome the opportunity. I have been hoping to hear from a young person just like you and to learn as much as possible from what you can tell me. Philosopher, look at the philosopher's point of view. He is still emphasizing on learning here, and this is the best skill that you can have. Keep on learning. Anyway, let's keep going forward. So youth is like, thanks, I do not intend to dismiss you out of hand. I will take your views into consideration and then look at the possibilities that present themselves. The world is simple and life is simple too. If there is anything in this thesis that might contain truth, it would be life from a child's point of view. Children do not have obvious duties like paying taxes or going to work. They are protected by their parents and society and can spend days free from care. They can imagine a future that goes on forever and do whatever they want. They don't have to see grim reality. They are blindfolded. So to them, the world must have a simple form. However, as a child matures to adulthood, the world reveals its true nature. Very shortly, the child will know how things really are and what he is really allowed to do. His opinion will later, and all he will see is his opinion will alter, and all he will see is impossibility. His romantic view will end and be replaced by cruel realism. That's an interesting view indeed. So he is saying that the world is simple. This thing that the world is simple and life is simple too is like, I mean, he cannot understand this. He cannot grasp this concept that, you know, the philosopher is simply just saying that the world is simple and life is simple too. He cannot he cannot think of this. He cannot even imagine about this. Why? Because he's talking about the reality here. The reality here is that children do not have obvious duties, blah blah blah. He's talking about the children, the issues they face in their life, and how when once they start growing up, how they face problems in their life, and once they start seeing all these things, the romantic view ends, and it is replaced by cruel realism. And this is indeed an interesting view. Okay, so again he's saying that's not all. Once grown up, the child will get entangled in all kinds of complicated relationships with people and have all kinds of responsibilities thrust upon him. That is how a life will be, both at work and at home, and in any role he assumes in public life. It goes without saying that he will become aware of the various issues in society that he couldn't understand as a child, including discrimination, war, and inequality, and he will not be able to ignore them. Am I wrong? He's saying it sounds fine to me. Please continue. So here he's pretty much right here. He's saying so the children are what makes the base of the society, any society. Okay, so children are like, you know, empty vessels. So whatever you fill up in their heads is how they grow up in their life. It can be positive, it can be negative, it can be a lot of things. So he's saying like children, they can get entangled in all kinds of blah 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 and have all kinds of responsibilities thrust upon him. And then he's making you know, a conclusion about how they when they start seeing the realism in the society, how will they be able to ignore it? That's pretty impossible. And once they see this reality, how can they still see that the world is simple and the life is simple? It's like pretty much impossible once you grow up, and that's how you start, right? So the vessel that was filling up is filling up with this kind of shit from the society, which is discrimination, war, inequality, blah 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 and shit, right? So philosopher is saying it sounds fine to me. Please continue. Well, if we were still living at a time when religion held sway, salvation might be an option because the teachings of the divine were everything to us. All we had to do was obey them and consequently have little to think about. But religion has lost its power, and now there is no real belief in God. With nothing to rely on, everyone is filled with anxiety and doubt. Everyone is living for themselves. That is how society is today. So please tell me, given these realities and in the light of what I have said, can you still say the world is simple? Even I would say yes, it is. But then let's say what he has to say. There is no change in what I say. The world is simple and life is simple too. Oh, he's saying the same thing. The world is simple and life is simple too. How? Anyone can see that it's a chaotic mass of contradictions. So philosopher is saying that is not because the world is complicated. It's because you are making the world complicated. That's an interesting thought. I am? Like, he's surprised now. Oh, is it me? I thought the world is already complicated. How is it like me who is seeing the world as complicated even though it is not? So he's like, I am surprised here. Super surprised. None of us live in an objective world, but us instead in a subjective world that we ourselves have given meaning to. The world you see is different from the one I see, and it's impossible to share your world with anyone else. Again, the child is super confused. How can that be? You and I are living in the same country and in the same time, and we are seeing the same things, aren't we? So he's like, you look rather young to me. I mean, don't look at my smile. I'm smiling because even I can think from the philosopher's point of view what he's about to say. But let's focus here. You look rather young to me, but have you ever drunk well water that has just been drawn? Youth. Well water? It was a long time ago, but there was a well at my grandmother's house in the countryside. I remember enjoying the fresh, cold water drawn from that well on a hot summer's day. You may know this, but well water stays at pretty much the same temperature all year round, at about 60 degrees. That is an objective number. It stays the same to everyone who measures it. But when you drink the water in the summer, it seems cool, and when you drink the same water in the winter, it seems warm. Even though it's the same water at the same 60 degrees according to the thermometer, the way it seems depend on whether it's summer or winter. So he's again super confused. He's thinking that it's something, as you can see in the next line. So he's thinking now it's an illusion caused by the change in the environment. So he's like, no, it's not an illusion. You see, to you in that moment, the coolness or warmth of the well water is an undeniable fact, right? That's what it means to live in your subjective world. There is no escape from your own subjectivity. At present, the world seems complicated and mysterious to you, but if you change, the world will appear more simple. The issue is not about how the world is, but about how you are. Focus on this, okay? This is a very important line that he's saying here. So here he's saying that it is not about how the world is, how fucked up, how you see, how chaotic the world you see. It is not like that. It is not what you are seeing. That's not the truth, but it is how you are. And you must have heard it somewhere. You often see the world as how you are. It's a mere reflection of yourself. So if you're seeing problem in the world, if you're seeing issues in the world, it is because there are problems in your own life. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going forward. How I am? Right. It's as if you see the world through dark glasses, so naturally everything seems dark, right? If you wear those cool shades on with those dark mirror and all, what you'll see, everything will seem dark to you. But if that is the case, instead of lamenting about the world's darkness, you could just remove the glasses, right? Perhaps the world will appear terribly bright to you then, and you will involuntarily shut your eyes. Maybe you'll want the glasses back on, but can you even take them off in the first place? Can you look directly at the world? Do you have the courage? Courage. So he's saying courage? What? Now it's coming to my courage? What are you talking about? Yes, it's a matter of courage. Well, alright, there are tons of objections I would like to raise, but I get the feeling it would be better to go on to them later. I would like to confirm that you are saying people can change, right? Says, of course, people can change. They can also find happiness. Everyone, without exception. He's like, why he is so fixed up on this thing, like people can change? How is this possible? He is fixed because the philosopher here, he's saying that everybody can change and everybody can find happiness. Everyone in the world can change and they can find happiness. That's what he's saying. And he's like, everyone without exception. He's saying no exceptions whatsoever. So again, he's chuckling like me. He's saying, haha, now you're talking big man. This is getting interesting. I'm going to start arguing with you immediately. I'm not going to run away or hide anything. Let's take our time debating this. So your position is people cannot change. That's right, they can't change. Actually, I'm suffering myself because of not being able to change. Philosopher, and at the same time, you wish you could. So he's like, of course, if I could change, if I could start life all over again, I would gladly fall to my knees before you. But it could turn out that you'll be down on your knees before me. So he's like, you remind me of myself during my own student days when I was a hot-blooded young man searching for the truth, traipsing about, calling on philosophers. Yes, I'm searching for the truth about life. So that's what he's saying. So philosopher is like, okay, I have never felt the need to take in disciples and I have never done so. I have never felt the need to take in disciples and I have never done so. However, since becoming a student of Greek philosophy and then coming into contact with another philosophy, I have been waiting for a long time for a visit from a young person like you. Another philosophy, what would that be? So my studies just over there. Go into it. It's going to be a long night. I will go and make some hot coffee. So he's like, okay, it's interesting for him. Like, somebody came to him and they are asking about the life, and the philosopher was searching about these things in the same manner in his early 20s, like, or maybe like early 30s or whatever time he was searching for the same things. And now he's saying that he understood something about life, and now somebody came to him, so he is pretty much excited. He wants to explain it to him how life is, what life is. Maybe if the youth, if anybody could understand even 1% of what he's saying, maybe they'll be able to change. And that's what the question was of the children. So he was telling about these things, right? Like, he was asking him the same thing, whether people can change, whether people can find happiness. Okay, let's keep going forward. I want to go for the first chapter, which is the first night. I'll end this here at the first night. We'll take it slowly. Okay. So the first night is deny trauma. Okay. The young man entered the study and sat slouched in a chair. Why was he so determined to reject the philosopher's theories? His reasons were abundantly clear. He lacked self-confidence, and ever since childhood, this had been compounded by deep-seated feelings of inferiority with regard to his personal and academic backgrounds, as well as his physical appearance. Perhaps as a result, he tended to be excessively self-conscious when people looked at him. Mostly, he seemed incapable of truly appreciating other people's happiness and was constantly pitting himself. To him, philosophers' claims were nothing more than the stuff of fantasy. Yeah, of course, right? Like, he's seeing the world from his point of view. He definitely lacked the self-confidence, and ever since his childhood, like, he had some feelings inside him, like, of some inferiority complex or something with regard to his own backgrounds and his physical appearance, maybe, or like a lot of things. That's how he's seeing the world now. That's how he is looking at the world now, and because of that, he has made a perception about the whole world. So I think about it in this way. Like, there are around 8 billion people in the world, and I keep saying this to so many people. So there are 8 billion people in the world. Out of those 8 billion people, how many people do you think you have met? At max 1000, 1500, 2000, 3000, 4000. Okay, let's say 10,000. Okay, let's say 1 lakh. How many are left? Too many, right? So how can you make judgment about the whole world just by looking at 1 lakh people or just by looking at 2 lakh people? You have seen nothing, right? Anyways, let's go. So the unknown third giant. We'll continue with this. Yeah, this is the the first night that he'll be talking about here. The unknown third giant. So a moment ago you used the words another philosophy, but I've heard that your specialty is in Greek philosophy. Yes, the Greek philosophy has been central to my life ever since I was a teenager. The great intellectual figures, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. I'm translating a work by Plato at the moment, and I expect to spend the rest of my life studying classical Greek thought. Well, then what is this other philosophy that you're talking about? It is a completely new school of psychology that was established by the Austrian psychiatrist Alfred Adler at the beginning of the 20th century. It is generally referred to as Adlerian psychology. Huh. I never would have imagined that a specialist in Greek philosophy would be interested in psychology. I mean, people think that if somebody is a philosopher, they cannot be a psychologist. But you don't know how closely a philosopher is connected to a psychologist. Many people don't know this. Anyway, I'm not very familiar with paths taken by other schools of psychology. However, I think it is fair to say that Adlerian psychology is clearly in line with Greek philosophy and that it is a proper field of study. Youth is saying, I have a passing knowledge of the psychology of Freud and Jung, a fascinating field. Yes, Freud and Jung are both renowned. Adler was one of the original core members of the Vienna Psychoanalytic Society, which was led by Freud. His ideas were counter to Freud's, and he split from the group and proposed an individual psychology based on his own original theories. I don't know if I'm going too fast, but I hope I'm not. Maybe after I end this, I might be knowing from you people if I'm going too fast. So I'll try to reduce my speed. Anyway, individual psychology, another odd term. So Adler was a disciple of Freud's. No, he was not. That misconception is common. We must dispel it. For one thing, Adler and Freud were relatively close in age, and the relationship they formed as researchers was founded upon equal footing. In this respect, Adler was very different from Jung, who referred Freud as a father figure. Though psychology primarily tends to be associated with Freud and Jung, Adler is recognized throughout the rest of the world, along with Freud and Jung, as one of the three giants in this field. I see. I should have studied it more. So he doesn't know about Adler. He only heard about Freud and Jung up until now. So this guy is talking about some Adler guy. He's saying that this guy is also recognized throughout the rest of the world along with them. Blah blah blah, because of the psychology and his close relation to the Greek philosophy and all. I see. I should have studied it more. I suppose it's only natural you haven't heard of Adler. As he himself said, there might come a time when one will not remember my name, one might even have forgotten that our school ever existed. Then he went on to say that it didn't matter. The implication being that if his school were forgotten, it would be because his ideas had outgrown the bounds of a single area of scholarship and become commonplace and a feeling shared by everyone. For example, Dale Carnegie, who wrote the international bestsellers How to Win Friends and Influence People and How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, referred to Adler as a great psychologist who devoted his life to researching humans and their latent abilities. The influence of Adler's thinking is clearly present throughout his writings, and in Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, much of the content closely resembles Adler's ideas. In other words, rather than being a strict area of scholarship, Adlerian psychology is accepted as a realization, a culmination of truths and of human understanding. Yet, Adler's ideas are said to have been 100 years ahead of the time, and even today we have not managed to fully comprehend them. That is how truly groundbreaking they were. Of course, if somebody is thinking that everybody in the world can be happy, the world is simple, it is a pretty interesting thought. I mean, at least for me, it is an interesting thought. Because even I think like that. Everybody can be happy. It's only a matter of your mindset. It's like that. So your theories are developed not from Greek philosophy initially, but from the viewpoint of Adlerian psychology? Yes, that's right. Okay. So whatever this guy is talking about, our Mr. Philosopher, he is, whatever he's coming, it is from his point of view, from the Adlerian psychology point of view. Okay, there's one more thing I'd like to ask about your basic stance. Are you a philosopher or are you a psychologist? Now he's super confused. I'm a philosopher, a person who lives philosophy, and for me, Adlerian psychology is a form of thought that is in line with Greek philosophy, and that is philosophy. Alright then, let's get started. I am sure he's still confused what he's saying. So he's like, I mean, for him, Adlerian psychology is a form of thought that is in line with the Greek philosophy, and that is philosophy. So he's like, what did you say? Okay, anyway, let's keep moving forward. He's like that. For you also, if you didn't understand, it's okay. For you to not understand up until now, it's fine. I think I should end it here because I don't want to start another chapter here. We will go into the next chapter, which is why people can change in the next one. I want to take this slowly because this book is pretty it's a pretty interesting one, and I want everybody to understand what is being said, what is the context here, what are we talking about. A lot of things are there. So instead of taking it too fast, I would rather go slowly so that everybody can understand what is this book about. So all in all, in summary, if we see, it's like the youth is super confused. He is maybe in his early 20s or something, and he must have gone through some trauma in his life. He must have gone through some things in his life. The way he has grown up, the things he has seen in life, like discrimination, war, inequality, blah blah, has forced him to make a perspective about the world, which is that the whole world is full of shit. And that's why he's super confused, and that's how he came to this guy, wanted to debate about him. And this guy, the philosopher, he is of the Adlerian psychology. He's following his Adlerian psychology, who's closely related to Greek philosophy. That's what he's saying here, that it is in line with Greek philosophy. So he's a philosopher, but he likes Adlerian psychology because the thought process is particularly similar. And obviously, according to me, in fact, the psychology and the philosophy goes hand in hand. Only a philosopher can become a psychologist. A psychologist can become a philosopher, and it goes, to and fro. It's like that. So what he's saying here, again, just to conclude, that the world is simple, everybody can be happy, and that is true. Everybody can be happy. The world is simple. It's just how we see the world, and that also depends on how you are, how we ourselves are. It depends on that. It is pretty straightforward thing. So if I have to give you another example, you can take another example like what you eat is how you become. Okay, so I don't want to start any controversies here, but still, let's say if you just eat animals, you'll become an animal. Your brain will develop into animals, and that's how it is. So that's what he's saying. How you are is how you see the world. What is inside is what you see outside. Like if you have positive inside, so there are, if you talk about duality, so I am going into some spiritual things also now. So if you go into duality, two things exist, positive and negative, and the both is there in you, the positive as well and the negative as well. So if you see just the positive, then maybe you will just see the positive in everybody. And if you can see the negative, that's how you'll see the world as negative, the whole world as negative. Maybe this might have happened with you people also, like some issue, you might have undergone through some issues, or maybe your whole life has been through a lot of issues, not some, but a lot of issues, and because of that you think that the whole world is cruel, the whole world is full of shit, and whatever you can call it. But that's not true. It's not that the whole world is full of chaos. Not everybody is black, not everybody is white. It's not like that. So you cannot make your perception about the world just by meeting a few number of people. You cannot make your perception about the whole world just by seeing a few circumstances that happened in just your life. Life is more than that, way more than that. So yeah, we will conclude it here, and we will keep talking about it. The next chapter we are going to cover is why people can change. And I have not read this book, so I'm reading it with you. I just read first introduction, and I just read like first one or two paragraphs here. So I haven't read the book. I'll read it with you people. So whatever thought process is coming in front of you, it is all in the head. I am not reading any scripts, I am not reading anything. So everything is coming from the head. Everything you are listening is a fresh perspective, like from a fresh mindset. So let's keep reading it, and we'll see how it goes, whether we like the book or not. We'll give a nice review in the end. If it is likable, we'll be neutral. We'll see how the book is. I am liking it up until now. Bye bye. See you all.